On May 8, 2025, the Sistine Chapel stood silent as white smoke rose from its chimney, announcing a new pope, a moment that changed history. For the first time ever, an American stepped into the shoes of St. Peter, Pope Leo XIV. But what sets him apart from his predecessor, Pope Francis, a man who touched the hearts of over 1.4 billion Catholics with his humility and courage? Today, we're diving into the five biggest differences between these two spiritual giants, chosen, it seems, by God to lead the Church through a world of division and hope. This isn't just a story of popes. It's a tale of faith, surprise, and divine purpose. So, settle in, because this journey might just reshape how you see the Catholic Church. The first difference is their cultural backgrounds. Pope Francis, born Jorge Mario Bergoglio in Buenos Aires, Argentina, was the first pope from Latin America, a region where Catholicism thrives with passion, woven into the struggles of the poor and the vibrancy of community. Raised in a working-class family of Italian immigrants, Francis absorbed the warmth and resilience of Latin American culture. His childhood in the bustling streets of Buenos Aires shaped a papacy rooted in closeness to the people. He rejected the grandeur of the papal palace for a modest apartment, washed the feet of prisoners, and spoke for those society overlooks. Francis wasn't just a pope. He was a father figure, radiating the love of a church that embraces its most vulnerable. His Latin American roots gave his leadership a fiery, heartfelt energy, like a tango that stirs both soul and spirit. In contrast, Pope Leo XIV, born Robert Francis Prevost in 1955 in Chicago, Illinois, carries a story of bridges spanning worlds, cultures, and dreams. Raised in a Catholic immigrant family, he grew up in a nation where Protestantism often overshadowed Catholicism. What makes Leo XIV unique isn't just his American identity. It's his choice to leave the comforts of a global superpower for the dusty, impoverished villages of northern Peru. There, among Quechua-speaking communities, he lived as one of them, sharing simple meals and praying in their native language. He even took Peruvian citizenship, blending his American roots with a Latin American soul. In Peru, he wasn't a distant cleric, but a brother, walking alongside the poor in their daily struggles. While Francis embodied the voice of Latin America's poor, Leo XIV is a living bridge, connecting the prosperity of the U.S. with the pain of forgotten lands. This cultural difference goes beyond geography. It shapes their approach to the papacy. Francis's Latin American heart brought a church that feels like a warm embrace, a mother caring for her children. Leo XIV, with his dual identity, seems divinely chosen to heal divides, not just within the church, but across nations and cultures. His American background, paired with his Peruvian heart, makes him a unique figure in a world craving unity. Did God choose an American pope to send a message of reconciliation in these polarized times? What does it mean for the Church to have a leader who's lived in both the global North and South? Stay with us, because the next difference will draw you deeper into this extraordinary story of faith and leadership. The cultural backgrounds of Pope Francis and Pope Leo XIV set the stage for two distinct papacies, but their approaches to political and social issues are where the story takes a dramatic turn. On May 8, 2025, as millions gathered in St. Peter's Square, the world awaited the first words of a new pope. Would he carry the bold torch of his predecessor, or light a new path? The second difference lies in how these two popes tackle the stormy issues of politics and society in a world divided by ideology and injustice. This is a story that reveals not just their leadership, but the very heart of their faith. Pope Francis was a force of nature, speaking truth to power with unwavering courage. He called former U.S. President Donald Trump's immigration policies disgraceful, arguing that border walls defied the gospel's call to welcome the stranger. His voice carried far beyond immigration. Francis was a tireless advocate for climate action, urging nations to honor the Paris Agreement, and a champion of interfaith dialogue to foster peace across religions. His vision was a church with open doors, where the poor, migrants, and marginalized were not just welcomed, but placed at the center. His outspokenness sparked controversy. Some conservatives, both within the church and beyond, bristled at his critiques, accusing him of being too progressive. Yet for millions, his words were a beacon, guiding the way toward a more just world. Francis was a prophet, calling the church to live out Christ's love amid suffering. Pope Leo XIV, however, brings a different approach, a blend of boldness and diplomacy. As an American, he criticized Trump's immigration policies, calling them a misuse of Catholic teaching to justify exclusion. But here's where the story gets intriguing. Leo XIV shares some ground with conservative viewpoints. He's a staunch defender of the pro-life cause, aligning with Trump and Make America Great Again supporters on issues like abortion. Yet, he's no one's pawn. In 2020, as the racial justice movement swept the globe after George Floyd's death, then Cardinal Prevost took to social media, writing, "We need to hear more from church leaders to reject racism and seek justice." His call for racial equality was a powerful stand, rooted in faith but resonant with the cries of a wounded world. Unlike Francis's direct confrontations, Leo XIV's approach is a careful balance, engaging both sides of the political spectrum with a call to dialogue. This difference reveals a deeper truth. While Francis was a thunderclap, shaking the church with bold reforms, Leo XIV is a weaver, threading together conservative and progressive ideas to create unity. His time in Peru, living among the poor, and his role as prefect of the dicastery for bishops gave him a unique perspective, one that sees beyond ideological camps. He's not here to pick fights, but to build bridges, to listen before he speaks. Could this be the leadership the church needs in a polarized age? What does it mean when a pope aligns with some conservative values while championing social justice? The answers lie in the differences still to come, and they'll make you see these two popes in a whole new light. The political stances of Pope Francis and Pope Leo XIV revealed two distinct lenses on the world, but their leadership styles are where the story shines, like light breaking through the clouds over St. Peter's Square. How does a pope lead in an era where faith faces division and doubt? The third difference is their leadership styles. One a blazing fire, the other a steadfast bridge. Francis was a charismatic shepherd, walking among his flock with a warmth that felt like family. He washed the feet of prisoners, shared meals with the homeless, and chose a modest apartment over the opulence of the papal palace. His leadership was revolutionary, pushing boundaries with reforms like cleaning up Vatican finances and rethinking the Church's approach to divorce and homosexuality. But this boldness came at a cost. His changes sparked admiration from progressives, but criticism from traditionalists who felt he moved too fast. Francis was a fire, warming hearts, but sometimes scorching those unprepared for transformation. Pope Leo XIV leads with quiet strength, rooted in his life as an Augustinian friar. On May 8, 2025, his first words from the balcony of St. Peter's, "Peace to all of you," set the tone for a papacy of listening and unity. His decades in Peru, living as one with the poor, and his role as prefect of the dicastery for bishops reveal a leader who prioritizes dialogue over confrontation. Leo XIV doesn't shy away from tough issues, but he approaches them with calm resolve, seeking common ground. He's not a fire, but a bridge, connecting opposing views in a world desperate for healing. Could this be God's design for a church navigating modern challenges? The fourth difference is their papal names, a choice that signals their mission. Francis chose his name to honor Saint Francis of Assisi, the saint of poverty, humility, and care for creation. This choice reflected his papacy, a church close to the poor, advocating for environmental justice through Laudato Si, and embracing simplicity. His name was a promise to live as a servant, not a king. Leo XIV chose Leo to pay homage to Pope Leo XIII, whose 1891 encyclical Rerum Novarum laid the foundation for modern Catholic social teaching, defending workers' rights and human dignity in an industrial age. The name also evokes Saint Leo the Great, who stood firm against threats to the Church in the 5th century. By choosing Leo XIV signals a commitment to uphold tradition while tackling today's social issues with wisdom and balance. It's a name that bridges past and present, faith and action. The fifth difference is their global vision. Francis turned the Church's gaze to the global South, Latin America, Africa, and marginalized regions, calling for peace in places like the Middle East and fostering interfaith dialogue. His papacy was a cry for justice in overlooked corners of the world. Leo XIV, with roots in both the U.S. and Peru, brings a broader vision, linking the global North and South. As the first American pope, he embodies unity across cultures, potentially strengthening Vatican ties with nations like Vietnam, where relations are warming. His dual identity makes him a unique voice for a globalized church, ready to engage diverse peoples and challenges. As we close this journey through the 5 differences, cultural background, political stances, leadership style, papal name, and global vision, we see 2 popes united by a shared mission: to bring the gospel to a hurting world. Francis was a fire, igniting hope and challenging norms. Leo XIV is a bridge, healing divides with quiet strength. What will it mean for an American with a Peruvian heart to lead the Church? Will he carry forward Francis's legacy or forge a new path for global Catholicism? Share your thoughts in the comments and hit that subscribe button to join us for more stories that inspire, challenge, and awaken your spirit.